Okay. Okay. So I shared to your WhatsApp group the PowerPoint. It should appear here. Well, maybe we can try next time. Yes, with this. Oh, sorry, the music is too loud. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, I always put up some music. It just makes me calmer and just to reduce the noises being around my place. But if it's disturbing, then I will turn it off. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this live session of the class today. And I shared the material in your WhatsApp. Okay, hello, hello. Okay, so I'm going to explain from there. Sorry, it should appear here. I'm a bit confused also. So today, like I told you, we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the elements of literature. And to have this live, I hope if it's not clear to you, you can ask me directly. And I think um, it's more understandable if you watch it, like directly. So if I can go live, I will go live. But last week I couldn't go live because I was having a workshop. So yeah. So our discussion today is about the elements of prose or story. Before the mid test, you have learned about the elements of poetry, if you remember, right? And now we're going to elements of prose, and this is also the basic of movies, of films. So I think I'm gonna what is it? For your task, um, it's very important, yeah, this to know this story element because this connects also to our discussion for movie later, and also in if later you take drama for ELT class, some of you um, good afternoon. Some of you have are taking the class now, yeah, the drama for ELT. So this is very basic how to develop a story. You need to know the elements of story itself. Okay. So the basic elements of story, you can open the PowerPoint that I shared in your WhatsApp. I divided into two parts, okay, just to make it easier to remember. So it's not too many to remember. So the first part is plot, character, and characterization. Okay, the first part is plot, character, and characterizations. I hope you try to follow me also in the PowerPoint. Okay, so we talk about the nature of plot. Yeah, when when an author, when a writer try to write a story, they make some plans. Okay, and this usually start with character and the plot. Yeah, plot is like the scheme, like the plan about the story itself. Like if you write in Bahasa Indonesia essay, if you remember, like this writing task, please write about your holiday experience, for example, and then you need to make a draft, right? Good afternoon. You need to make a draft. We say kerangka karangan, yeah. So plot is kind of like that, but plot is very specific. Yeah. If you see the structure of plot in page 4, so it starts with the beginning. So plot has a beginning. How does the story begin? How do you want the story begin? How do they want the story begin for the authors? How the story starts. So in the beginning, we usually introduce the character. Yeah. We usually introduce the character, and then there is also an element of instability. In one story, whether it's a novel, it's a film. Hi, whether it's a novel or it's a film, um, there should be a conflict, right? Without a conflict, the story will be dull, like our life. If your life got no conflict, then I know that conflict makes us troubled sometimes. But can you imagine if we got no conflict, how will life feel like? Also like a story. If you read a story, you read a novel, you watch a film, and there is no conflict, that would be unbelievable, right? Like it's not possible like that. So in the beginning also, the author introduced the element of instability, like um, uh, the element of instability in the character's life. So after this beginning phase, we go to middle states. In the middle states, that element of instability start to rise a conflict, yeah, or rise in action. In the slides I wrote there. So there is a rise in action, like the problems start to appear like that. And in the middle also, that conflict, it can be several conflicts. It like it gets heightened, yeah, within like as the story goes, those conflicts are built up until it reaches the climax. What is the climax of the conflict? So we can feel this like in the half of the story. Like when this happens, we know that the story is going to almost end. Yeah, because this climax is like in the peak. Like if this is a diagram, I also put a diagram in the slides. You can see on page 7 is free text pyramid, I think. So in the pyramid, the Freytag's pyramid, considering Freytag is German. So yeah, in the climax, you see it there. It's the most suspenseful part. So what is a suspense? Suspense. Wait, I'm going to talk about that later. So this climax will be the turning point of the story because that's the peak of the story. It's like a triangle. So the climax is over here. Okay, so after that, the story starts to go down. Like it's going to have resolution. It's going to solve the problem, the main problem that the character has. Okay, so you see there, we just talk about plot. Okay, um, I hope this works though. So there is some law of plots. Yeah, we were now on page 8. The plot is like the what is it? I'm not going to say character, that will make me confused. Hmm. Okay, the characteristic of plot. What is the characteristic of plot? Plot should be plausible. Plausible is like believable. Okay, so your plot, the way you arrange the story, it should be believable for the reader. It should be believable for the audience, even though it's like flashback, the way you arrange it should not be too confusing. It's it should be still understandable by the audience. So the law of plot is it should be plausible or believable, and then there should be a suspense. Yeah, there is a word suspense there. So suspense is unexpected uncertainty. Like a surprise within a story. Sometimes there are some movies that have several suspense and it makes the audience, like it it really affect our emotion. Like when we think the story will just have the ending now, suddenly something happened near the end. It can be also suspense. So something unexpected happened within the story. Something that is unpredictable, you know. And when you read story and it's too predictable, sometimes it's not that interesting, right? But if it is, if the way it goes is something that you cannot predict, then it can really entertaining sometimes. With a lot of suspense. Also like horror movie, horror like they have or horror stories. They have many suspense. Yeah, makes you like surprised like that. Okay, and then there's also foreshadowing. We got to give the audience a hint, yeah, how this story will go. Okay, and it will be also logical, of course. Even though the story is the characters are animals, the characters are aliens, but you know, the events should still be believable. That's why, even though it's an animal, they have like routine like human, like maybe eating together and then they talk to each other. So it still it still have a logic, yeah, in the story itself. So we as a human can feel related even though the character is in the form of mini plants or animals or aliens. Okay, so that was plot. Any questions? Hello, are you with me? Is it clear? Is my explanation clear? Any question? I'm just no. Okay. Or if you have any, thank you, Tarika. If you have any questions, just write it down on the chat section. Yeah? Okay. So we go on to character. Okay, because there are so many elements in prose. Well, I'm gonna go a bit faster now. That plot, yeah, and then now we go to character. That characters is very basic elements, yeah, that we can find in a story, of course. So the character, I think I just mentioned also that the characters should be believable. Yeah? They should have human likeness, even though the character is in a different form of like inhuman. Like it's not human, but still we should feel related to that. And um, okay, I think I go to this type of character. The type of character in page 12. So there are several types of character that you can find in a story and in a film, and actually also in real life. Yeah. So the first character is simple character, a flat character. But usually the lead character, the main character, they don't have this quality. Yeah. They don't have simple character. Usually, if you watch in a movie or in a story, the lead character or the main character is is the one who has complex character. And yeah, I think it's actually uh, even us as a human, we all actually have this complex character, yeah, in each of us. But that's my opinion. But the way we show that is different. Some of us show that we look simple from outside, but actually there's a complexity in our mind. I think you can relate this. I think you're old enough to relate to what I'm saying here. So yeah, the first one is simple character. Um, you can read the characteristic of simple character in the slide. Yeah? And then the second one is complex character, or we usually say round character. So complex character is what they show many sides of their character. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good in the way maybe. They look patient, but they also got angry. So there are so many characteristics appear. There are so many emotions like appear from this character, and that's how we can um, judge something as just a character as okay, this is complex character. Okay, and then this is also a type of character. I should mention this earlier actually. When you study about story, I think also when you were protagonist and antagonist, yeah, protagonist and antagonist. My connection is unstable. Okay, I hope it's okay. Okay, and protagonist, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way we are being told so far is protagonist is a good character. You know what I'm saying? A good character. Because protagonist is always nice. But this is something that is misleading actually. Because protagonist is actually the lead character. Yeah. Protagonist is the lead character. Whether he or she is good or not good, nice or not nice, he or she is the protagonist if they are the lead character. Okay. An antagonist is the reverse, yeah, is the opposite of protagonist. So antagonist can be nice, actually, and protagonist can be bad. You know, if the story is about Dracula, the lead character is the Dracula. If you remember Maleficent, the lead character is the Maleficent. A usually judged to be a bad one, but in Maleficent, because the movie tried to portray from Maleficent point of view, then she's the protagonist, even though maybe she don't look that nice, you know. Okay, so if you got any question, once again, you can put it in the chat box. And then dynamic and static. A dynamic character, they evolve, yeah, within a story. They evolve, they have some changes in their character. So that's a dynamic one. Usually a lead character is dynamic one because they have this turning point, you know. And a static character, in the other way, is they stay the same from the beginning until the end of the story. They don't show any significant changes in their characteristics. Okay, so that's character. We already discussed the elements. Okay, I think I will go now to characterization. Oh, character development. What do you mean, Andre? Character development. The characterization is the way the character develop in your story. This is our third element. Okay. Oh, would you please clarify the questions so I can answer later? When you said about the changes. Oh, okay. The changes in the like the changes in their characteristics. Please be careful with every term that I use here because there is a character, characteristics, and later characterization. Character, I'm gonna say bahasa Indonesia, okay? Character adalah tokoh dalam cerita, and um, characteristic itu sifat, ya, karakteristik itu yang saya masukkan adalah sifat dari karakter, sifat dari tokoh-tokoh dalam cerita. Characterization is the way the characters are being portrayed by the author. So if you are an author, you are creating a character, right? And the way you portray, yeah, the way you show them to the audience, the way you show them, you introduce them to the reader is called characterization. Because as an author is like the god of the story, right? Kalau dalam bahasa Indonesia kita bilang dalang ya. So he's the one who direct everything in the story or in the movie. So characterization is the way the author present their character. So this is more to the author actually. Characterization is something that the author does, yeah, in a story. And there are several methods. There are several methods to do this characterization within a story. The first one is discursive method. In discursive method, the narrator tells the quality of the character. In discursive method, the narrator or the author tell directly in a story. For example, Anissa here, Anissa Reti. Anissa is a very patient girl. Like she likes to uh, she likes to help her friends, and it is stated in the story. So the author directly tell the reader the quality, the characteristic of their character. That is called discursive method. Okay, and there is actually some advantage and disadvantage, yeah, within its method. You can see that later in my slide, or now you can see it. Jadi ada kekurangan dan kelebihan dari setiap method ini, ya. So characterization is a point of view of author. No, point of view is different thing. Yeah. Point of view is different elements from characterization. Point of view is how, I will explain this later, but it's how the narrator, the author see, sorry, not see, the way the narrator appear in the story. If the narrator appear in the story, that is called first person, and if the author doesn't appear at all in the story, that is called third person point of view. Okay, but we'll talk more about this later. This will be the last part. Okay, Nanette? But it's different one. Okay, I hope that explains that. Or if you're still confused, you can ask me later, yeah? Um, okay, thank you. And then the second one for characterization or methods of character portrayal is dramatic method. In a dramatic method, the author allows the characters to reveal themselves by the way they act and speak. I think for adult story, I mean like they don't always say everything, so they let the character speak for themselves. And um, as an adult reader, this is more interesting for us. Yeah, can you imagine if you read a story where the author tell all the characteristics of their character? That won't be so um, intriguing, right? It might seem or feel like quite boring maybe. But children's story usually like this, yeah. But not all children's story. But children's story mostly the author explains the characteristic of their character. Okay, so that's the second method, yeah, dramatic method. The author lets the characters reveal themselves. And there is also contextual method on page 17. Yeah. Contextual method, we know the quality of a character from other characters in the story. This is very interesting. You know that once again, story or prose or narrative or fiction, this is a basic of drama or movie. Yeah? So sometimes we know uh, uh, the characteristic of character from other characters. If I put this in real life, it's like gossip, maybe. Like the way we see someone is sometimes from other people, what other people say about them, right? So it's like that, kind of like gossip. Okay, and then the last one is mixing method. It can be, yeah. I think most story is have this mixed method here, not just one method in portraying their characters, especially if it is a long novel, a thick novel, maybe like Harry Potter or yeah, I think you know Harry Potter. Let's just mention that. Okay, so yeah, that was the first part of uh, our material today. So seems like everyone is. Can you follow me though? I hope so. Okay. So if you're ready, we just go directly to part two. Okay. All right. Save your quota. How? Okay, it's already 30 minutes. Let's go. So the second part, it's 18. Sorry, maybe the slides don't have. Okay, thank you. Maybe the slide don't have dates, but if you open it on your cell phone, I think they give the page number. So in part two, we are dealing with setting. I think you know setting, but setting is not just about place, okay, but also about time and geography, like also geography condition, the social condition. So setting is very complex actually. It's not just about the place and time, but what happened during that place and time, what happened within that place and time is also matter. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's. I already mentioned that what's written here, that the types of setting, it has natural setting and spiritual setting, dynamic setting. Actually, it's not just this, okay? It's not just this, but if you imagine we, uh, maybe not all of you, okay, we live in Indonesia. We live in Indonesia in this time during 2021, and it depends on which location you live, what happened, the social, economic condition, uh, the conflict maybe, the politics in our country nowadays, the pandemic, So this setting contribute a lot to our story, right? This setting contribute a lot to our life story. So it's also the same like fiction. Yeah? It's the same with prose. In this part, it's very interesting if you a good novel, like the author always do some research. Yeah, they not just make it up. Like fiction maybe is quite underrated in our society, but making a story is not that easy actually. It's not just something that is just based on imagination out of nowhere, out of the blue. But even though it's a fiction, it actually talks about us. Yeah? It used like story medium to tell the reality. So I think that's what fiction is. Yeah. So story is just a medium of us communicating actually with each other. Yeah. And we talk about our story, our real life. But it's just portrayed or wrapped in a form of fiction. Okay. And then there is a function. What is the function of a setting? Of course, the setting itself create a new world or create the world here for this character. So it creates the atmosphere. Yeah. So it really what is it? It it really contributes to the characters. It can be characters conflict, characters characteristic. Yeah, this setting. Then that's why it's very important. So yeah, it is crucial elements also in a story. The setting. Okay. All right. And then point of view. This is what Nana just asked. Yeah. So there are two types, yeah, two types of point of view or POV. We call that POV. The the first type is first person narrator. The second type is third person narrator. For these two types, many of us mistakenly believe there are second point of view. There is no second point of view. Okay, only first person point of view and third person point of view. Why it is called first person? Because um, the narrator appear in the story. For example, if you read a story that says I, like not Lisa I read, let's say um, I went to the park yesterday and then I met blah blah blah. If the story starts with I, then it's a first person narrator. Yeah? It's first person point of view. The narrator can be the protagonist or it can be a minor character. For example, Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if you have ever read Sherlock Holmes, but the story of Sherlock Holmes, the detective, it is written from his friend point of view, his best friend. If I'm not mistaken, it's Dr. Watson. So the story um, is being told from Dr. Watson point of view, even though Sherlock is the lead character. So first person point of view can be done by the lead character or minor character. Okay. And then the second type is third person narrator or third person point of view. Third person is the one that like Galang, yeah. Is the one that like a director in a movie. Third person is like the god of the story. So it says omniscient narrator, yeah, because um, they really don't show their existence within a story. Yeah. For example, like a children tale, maybe. Once upon a time, there lived a prince or a princess like who got lost in the forest or something. So those kind of story, yeah, they use third person point of view. Okay, I think that's clear enough. I hope if my explanation too long, it won't be effective also. I guess even myself, if I listen to like some speech that is too long, like I lost my focus, so I won't be too long. Okay, the last one is theme. Oh my God, we come to the last discussion today. So theme or tema, yeah, tema is not the moral of the story. Okay. Uh, Actually, we talk about this moral of the story. It can be a long discussion, and it's interesting actually to talk about this element of literature. But I think we can discuss this more after you're doing your task. I hope by introducing these elements, you have some sort of basic theory about story itself and how to use these elements later in for teaching language. Yeah, English. So okay, sorry, I jumped to that. I should explain about theme first. Okay, so theme is the central or dominating idea of a story. And a theme can be about mental health. A theme can be about gender equality. A theme can be about um, uh, love. Yeah? But what kind of love? It also a vast topic to talk about it. So yeah, that's the theme. It dominates the story. This thing. To give you a view about what theme is, I'm sure you have a theme in your cell phone, right? You have a theme in your cell phone. And whatever, like this theme, really foreground your cell phone, right? It always appear there, even though you open your WhatsApp, you open your application, but the theme is always there. So that's the thing. I hope that metaphor works for you. So yeah, I think that's all. What theme is the aspect of human experience that the author wishes to express. So I think theme is always relate to our experience as a human. Yeah, this thing. Um, yeah, it can be about politics. It can be about religion, like religious movie. But even though religious, we can be more specific, yeah, in the theme. So yeah, even in politics also, the theme can be narrowed, yeah, not just politics like that, but what is it in the politics that we want to convey? What is it in this religious manner that we want to show in the story? Um, yeah, so I think that's it. Any question? Any question? I hope that's clear enough. And um, let's see if I can save this meeting. I hope I can do that. And if I can save this, I can edit some. Maybe I can edit something so I can show maybe the slides there. But if I cannot, then I'm sorry. At least I shared the material to you. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think that's all. If you have nothing more to say or to ask, I will what is it? Share or posted the section of your task in the Google Classroom. Okay. So I can be more detailed in there. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining the live session. And I do hope this will add your knowledge about story, and because this is very basic for our next classes also. We will have like prose for ELT, drama for ELT. So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, have a good day. Bye bye. Thank you. Okay. It's too bad I cannot hear you speaking directly. Yeah. Maybe next time I'll try to use Zoom and then connect that to my YouTube live session. Yeah. Bye. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay. I will end this, yeah. Alright.